It's been a while since I've been this excited about a saturation plugin. What's up everybody, Mike here, and today we're taking a look at the all-new 280 Pre plugin from Mixland. This is based on the preamp section of a Scully 280 tape machine, and it's easily one of the most characterful saturation plugins I've tried in a while. And funnily enough, I was actually really close to buying one of these units recently, but passed on it, so I was extra excited to see that Mixland made a plugin of it. So let's throw this on a drum bus and run through all the controls. First, we've got the record and playback level knobs, which are your input and output controls. By default, they're gain linked so that your level stays fairly consistent as you dial in the saturation, but you can also turn that off up here. Then you've got a high pass and low pass filter to shape the tone. And then there's this 2x switch, which essentially runs the signal through a second instance of the preamp, increasing both the saturation and the box tone of the unit a bit. And then up in the menu bar, the age control mimics the effect of aging the components within the preamp, leading to an increasingly degraded high end, as well as a change in the harmonics it generates. So basically, you've got a shiny new unit with the age control at 0, and an old messed up one that's probably in need of some servicing at 100%. Then the drift knob adds some subtle variation to the harmonics. It's been extremely subtle on everything I've tried it on so far, but I have noticed on stereo tracks, it sounds like it's adding a slight bit of variation between the left and right channels, creating a slightly wider image. But again, it's super subtle, and on a lot of sources, I honestly don't know if I can hear the difference or not. So I've just been leaving that the default 50%. Then we've got up to 16 times oversampling, which is always a good option to have on a saturation plugin, as well as a mix knob for blending in some of the dry signal. And finally, the screw under the VU meter can be adjusted to set the reference level for the meter. This doesn't change the sound at all, just the metering. I think we got a pretty cool, gritty, slightly lo-fi drum sound with this, so let's try it on some other instruments. Here it is on bass. I love what it was adding there. I used a high pass filter to keep the saturation from getting too bloated sounding, but then dialed the mix knob back to let some of the clean low end back through. Now let's try it on a lead guitar. Once again, super cool. I love the way it's interacting with the delay on that track. And of course, you don't have to be nearly this heavy-handed with the saturation. Let's try it a little more subtly on an acoustic guitar. Here I used the low pass and edge knobs to smooth out the top end a bit, while the saturation itself helped tame the peaks without being over the top like some of the previous examples. And just for fun, let's take a listen to all the instruments together and flip all the instances of 280 pre on and off. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this thing. I wouldn't consider it an all-purpose saturation plugin, like it's not going to replace Saturn or my favorite tape plugins, and it's not likely to end up on every instrument in any of my mixes, but it's amazing for adding a ton of character to certain tracks. It's got this kind of messed up, slightly broken sound that I absolutely love that no other plugins I own do. Like I've got a few weird old guitar amps that do that broken, messed up sound, and they can completely set the tone for a track, creating an insanely cool vibe that transforms the song. The 280 pre does that for me, but on more than just guitars. Like for creating weird crunchy drum sounds or adding a ton of color and vibe to a bass track. This thing is just awesome. But yeah, if you want to try this out for yourself, I'll put a link to Mixland's website down in the description. And if you like this video and want to help support the channel, consider making your next gear purchase using my affiliate links in the description. Thanks so much for watching and happy mixing.